everyone, it's Christina from Our Wood Home. I also have Mish with me for now. We'll see how long she lets me hold her. Anyways, today I'm going to be making strawberry lemonade concentrate, and I thought I'd take you along with me to show you how that's done. This recipe uses just strawberries, sugar, and lemon juice, and it's a recipe that can be canned safely, so I'll be showing you how I do that as well. Let me put Mish down, wash my hands, and get started with that. For this recipe, you're going to need 6 cups of strawberries. All I do is just cut the tops off, and I don't even bother slicing them up. I just leave them whole, and that makes up the 6 cups. Usually I cut the tops off and give them to my chickens, but I started doing something different this year. I'm going to be saving the tops and dehydrating them with the fruit and the leaves and the stem, because apparently you can make strawberry tea from the strawberry leaves. So I think that's going to be really interesting. I don't drink tea, but my husband does. So we'll see how that goes, and hopefully it turns out tasting really nice. If you didn't want to give these tops to any animals or dry them for tea, you could definitely just pull off the leaves or cut out the leaves and put them in your compost pile. But I like to cut off some of the fruit because, like I said, I would give it to my chickens, and now since I'm going to be drying them for tea, I want to make sure the tea has lots of really nice strawberry flavor that we'd get from the fruit. I'm not slicing these into small pieces, just leaving them whole and putting them in my measuring cup. We're going to need 6 cups of strawberries. This is a giant strawberry. I should add, we didn't pick these strawberries. We usually do go strawberry picking. I went with my mother-in-law earlier this month, and I've already processed all of those berries. And my husband and I planned to go strawberry picking, but yesterday we just didn't have the time, so we just drove to the farm market and picked up pre-picked strawberries. But we are planning to go pick our own soon. So now that we've got our strawberries, let's combine those with sugar and lemon juice. We're going to add our 6 cups of strawberries. Let me grab my lemon juice from the fridge. I'm using bottled lemon juice. I suppose you could use fresh if you really wanted to, but that would be a lot of work. So I just use the bottled lemon juice. We're going to use 4 cups. Here in Canada, if you buy these large bottles of lemon juice, that's about 4 cups. And now we're going to add 6 cups of sugar. Just regular white sugar. Two. 4. 6. Now Now we're going to turn the stove on, bring it to a boil, and I'll check in with you once it's boiling. While our strawberries, sugar, and lemon juice are coming to a boil, I'm also getting my potato masher ready. This is helpful because you do want the berries to be crushed as they cook. You can just use a spoon if you don't have a masher, or I suppose you could use an immersion blender, being very careful not to splatter any of the hot liquid on yourself. But you will want to crush the berries with something during this process. I forgot to film this part, but once the mixture has started to boil, you just want to turn it down to a simmer so that there's small bubbles, and let that simmer for 30 to 60 minutes. I think you could do 30 minutes and it would be fine, but of course if you simmer it for an hour, it's going to reduce a fair bit, so you're not going to get a full 3 liters of lemonade. But if you do it for 30 minutes, you will get closer to 3 liters. This has been simmering for about an hour, so I'm going to turn the heat off, and I'm just going to move it to a different burner so that it's not sitting directly on the heat. I'm going to let it sit just for a little bit before I strain it because I don't want to get splashed with any of the really hot liquid that's in the pot here. All right, the strawberry lemonade mixture has been cooling for a bit, so it's not as hot, which is safe to handle. I don't want to get burned with it. I'm going to strain it into this large measuring cup, and I'm using a fine mesh sieve. I've noticed when I make this lemonade and just strain it into a sieve or the larger colander, the final lemonade can look a little bit cloudy, which isn't really a big deal to me, but if you wanted it to be more clear, you can line your colander or strainer with a cloth, and that will help just to filter out any of the chunks. I'm going to just start by scooping out some of the lemonade because I don't think my strainer can hold all of the solids. While this is draining, I'm going to let it sit for a while because I want to make sure all of the liquid drains out. So while this is draining, I'm going to get my canning jars washed and prepped, and I'm going to get my steam canner set up. This recipe is one that can be either steam canned or water bath canned. You do not need to pressure can it because this is a high acid product, and low acid foods need to be pressure canned. But high acid is safe to do water bath or steam canner. And interestingly enough, any recipe that says it has to be water bath canned, it is able to be steam canned. And I use a steam canner instead of a water bath canner because it takes up, it uses less water than the water bath canner, and it takes less time to prepare, which I like. I'm going to let this drain for a little bit. My colander is right full, so I can't really add anything else right now, but we can see that it's draining nicely in here. So I'll check in a few minutes and dump the rest of the pot into the strainer to keep straining out. This is what's left over once all the liquid's been strained out, and it makes a really nice jam if you just add some more sugar to it because it's quite tart, but it also makes a really nice fruit leather. I do add a little bit more sugar to it for the fruit leather and then just spread it out on the dehydrator tray, and it tastes really good. The strawberry lemonade is almost finished processing in my steam canner. Once the timer goes off, I'm going to turn off the stove completely, and as per the instructions from my steam canner, I'm going to set another timer for 5 minutes just so that it can finish doing what it's doing in here. This steam canner is called the Fruit Saver, and it's very important for this one to allow it just to kind of reduce its temperature a bit naturally, and that helps create the seal on the jars. But of course, follow the instructions for your steam canner or your water bath canner. Once the jars have finished processing and all of the lids have set, it's shelf stable. I'm still finishing up some lemonade that I made the last summer, so it lasts at least a year, which is nice. It's really nice to have it as a treat in the winter when it's so cold and dreary out. It's like a nice little taste of summer in the glass. If you didn't want to can this, you can definitely just put it in your fridge. I would suggest using it up in a few days, or you could put it in some freezer-safe containers and freeze it and then thaw when you want to drink it again. Now keep in mind, this is a concentrate, so that means it has a very strong flavor, so you need to dilute it with water. You will mix 1 part concentrate with 3 parts water. So typically I just dump this 1 liter jar into my juice pitcher shown here, and then fill the empty jar with 3 quantities of water. I hope that makes sense. Basically, you just want to do 3 parts water, 1 part lemonade. You can definitely play with that proportion a bit. If you want a sweeter lemonade, you could do a little less water. If you want a more tart lemonade, you can add some extra lemon juice. Or if you want something that's a little bit weaker, of course, do a little bit more water. It's really up to you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you found it interesting and are encouraged to give this recipe a try for yourself. If you have any questions, feel free to put those in the comments and I will do my best to answer them. If you like what you see here on my channel, I encourage you to subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss any video or update that I post. Thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.